Some big news can be dropping soon as the first domino has fallen with the second round picks signing their contracts. We're giving a little shout out to the Los Angeles firefighters as well as a scout saying Matthew Stafford still has game. All on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron. Remember, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor. Press that subscribe button now, as roughly 65.7% of you guys are watching the videos, but you're still not subscribed to the channel. All I'm saying is if you're already watching and you're not subscribed, might as well press that subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. Also, not a plug, not a sponsor, but I did just get 2 jerseys in the mail, as Cooper Kupp's Rams jersey is actually on sale on Fanatics. Go check it out. I think as of July 16th, I'm recording this at 8:45 p.m. PST. I think it's on sale, not as much as what I got it on sale for a couple of days ago, but it is still on sale, the Cooper Kupp jersey. Just saying, if you want to go get your hands on a Cooper, I know he's a Seattle Seahawk now, but if you want to get your hands on a Cooper Kupp jersey, go ahead and grab one of those on Fanatics. Moving on. Dominoes. We're talking about dominoes falling for the Rams in the Rams' favor, leading up to something that could be really big for the Rams. Obviously, we are discussing the second round pick situation, as many second round picks we talked about the last couple episodes were not signing their contracts. Obviously, trying to hold out, trying to get the most money guaranteed or all of the money guaranteed in their deals, which is not something that typically happens with second round picks. But as of today, Adam Schefter did come out and with this tweet saying the next big domino in the second round has fallen. 49ers second round pick Alfred Collins, the 43rd overall selection, reached an agreement tonight on a 4-year, $10.3 million deal that includes over $9 million guaranteed, and now is expected to trigger multiple second round signings per sources. Until now, 30 of the 32 second-round picks remained without a deal. Collins will have 88% of his deal guaranteed, a huge jump over the last year's number 43 overall pick. So for those who are lost in what's going on right now, the second-round picks seem to have come together a little bit, or at least kind of quietly, subtly have all agreed, to try to push and fight for fully guaranteed contracts as second-round picks. And I'm always a huge supporter of players getting guaranteed contracts. I think ultimately, if you sign a contract, the team should understand, knowing full well the player could get hurt. Player could not be that good, especially when we're talking about rookies, right? Player could not be that good, whatever it is, and not ultimately fulfill that, want or dream that this team wants, and that's what they're signing them for. But it's a risk reward, right? You're signing these players. Of course, there's fixed rates, but in terms of guaranteed money, I think it is kind of interesting, that this is even a thing in the NFL. I understand injuries happen, but there should be some kind of, fallback option for teams, right? If you're, first round pick, you're spending $20 million guaranteed on your first round pick. Ultimately, if that player gets hurt, and maybe knock on wood, it doesn't happen to anyone, but if it does happen and a player can't play anymore in the NFL, well, then there should be some kind of safety for the team, of course. But that player, the NFL has enough money. The team has enough money to pay that player $20 million guaranteed dollars, and that's kind of where I get kind of. I'm always supporting the players on this. I want them to get as much guaranteed money as possible. They play a very dangerous sport for our entertainment. Give them all the monies in the world. I don't really care. So that's kind of where I'm at on this stance. But ultimately, we talked about this a couple episodes ago, right? We said, hey, the possibility of these second-round picks, it's a little bit risky for them not signing, right? Especially Terrence Ferguson. Hey, the Rams could just use Tyler Higbee. They don't need to use Terrence Ferguson necessarily immediately. Their tight ends have been pretty solid the last couple of seasons, and so obviously, aside from dealing with injuries, they've been able to do the job well in recent memory. So for Terrence Ferguson, if he wants to get on the field and impress, I think he needs to be there in training camp. He needs to sign his contract sooner rather than later. So I'm rooting for him to sign his contract and it to be as guaranteed as possible. But we did say, if one guy decides to cave in the second round and sign a deal less than fully guaranteed, well, other dominoes will probably fall, and that includes Terrence Ferguson, right? This is Cameron Da Silva on Twitter responding to the Adam Schefter tweet we just talked about in terms of the second round pick for the Niners, Alfred Collins. He says, gotta imagine Terrence Ferguson, who was drafted 3 picks later, and the other second rounders will sign soon. So it really does feel like this is a domino that's falling and taking place, whether people are happy with it or not. He got 88% of his contract guaranteed. I'm sure the Rams or other teams will try to talk to their second round picks and say, hey, 85%, does that work if they're drafted, after Alfred Collins or, whatever it is, maybe the higher you're drafted in the second round, the higher percentage of guaranteed money you get? I don't really know. Don't really care. Teams pay the players. Players, hopefully, please show up to training camp so we can get the Super Bowl right. That's all that really matters from our perspective as a fan. But ultimately, again, really happy, hoping they can make as much money as they possibly can. We'll see. Hopefully, Terrence Ferguson falls, and he's that next domino that falls sooner rather than later, right? We'll keep an eye on that for sure. Moving on from that, we are talking about Matthew Stafford and how he's still got it. He's still got game. A scout has said, you know what? He ultimately doesn't. Sorry, I didn't change the screen here. He ultimately doesn't see a decline. He saw actually no decline in Stafford's abilities last season. Rams praise for keeping Matthew Stafford in the offseason. You remember, it was kind of a crazy, wild offseason, right? We thought Matthew Stafford at some point in time could be traded. Shoot, I was on here saying that maybe it's the route the Rams should take at some point in the offseason. And it's not because I didn't believe in Stafford or any of these players. It was more because we knew the Cooper Kupp situation was going to have to be moved on from and settled from at some point. Puka Nacua was so young. If you're not going to be aggressive and get a guy like Devontae Adams, which we didn't know they were going to do, ultimately maybe moving on from Stafford, kind of starting young, fresh, and finding a new future quarterback was kind of the idea I saw the Rams going early in the offseason. Well, the Rams thought otherwise, decided not to trade Matthew Stafford, and this scout is saying, hey, good job on the Rams, because ultimately I don't see a decline in Stafford's game. So here we go. It says, honestly, not seeing decline for Matthew Stafford. One rival scout told Athlon Sports. He can still sling the rock. Yes, Sean McVay and Les Snead need to start planning ahead, but extending his deal was the right move. It's a have and have not league at quarterback, and they have one. And that's ultimately a really important key there. What he's saying is, some teams have a quarterback, some teams don't. And if you don't have a quarterback, you're probably not going to win. I was talking about this recently on an episode, and I got a couple angry comments. I always get angry comments, but a couple angry comments saying, oh, the Rams window's small. How is the window small? They're so good. They're the youngest team. The roster could be as young as you want. The roster could be 25 years old. If you don't have a quarterback slinging the rock, you don't have a quarterback slinging the rock. And that's what the scout is saying, right? And so that's kind of where I'm seeing with the Rams. The concern is, if you don't have a quarterback next year, Stafford decides to hang it up after winning a Super Bowl, hopefully, then you don't have a quarterback. And that's kind of the biggest issue that I'm discussing. The reason why the window's small is because Stafford's window is small. That's really what it relies on. If you don't have Matthew Stafford at quarterback, I'm wishing nothing but the best, but I don't believe Jimmy Garoppolo can step in there and win a Super Bowl for you. I would hope that's the case, but I don't think that's the case ultimately. That's any team in the NFL, right? Their starting quarterback gets hurt, more likely than not, they have no chance at winning the championship. And that's kind of where I'm at with Stafford, and that's why I was saying the window feels small. Unless you can find a quarterback replacement ASAP, which the Rams haven't done yet, that's the concern, I think, for the future, right? So this 37-year-old entering his 17th season has had a 64.7 QBR in 2024, his best mark since 2019 when he was still on the Detroit Lions. So only 2 years ago in 2023, Stafford's 8th place finish in the MVP race was the first time he got serious consideration for the award, and he made just his second career Pro Bowl. So ultimately, Stafford, he's been up and down in the last couple of seasons. I think ultimately you see him kind of falling off a little bit in the sense of he's older, right? And so he's not necessarily every single game in, game out. He's not every single year in, year out going to drop 35 touchdowns and under 10 interceptions every single year, right? That's kind of what you like from your kind of higher end elite quarterbacks. But he gets the job done. Comes in, has a healthy season, kind of goes through the motions throughout the year, and then when it comes down to the important games, when it comes down to December, when it comes down to January, those games, we called them last year the Winter Soldier, right? How great Stafford looked. That game versus the Buffalo Bills, that incredible kind of game that seems to have been forgotten by a lot of NFL fans' memory. That was an incredible performance from Stafford and the whole offense in general. And so Stafford does still have game. He can still take it to that level when needed. I agree with this scout. I think the Rams ultimately, as long as he's there and healthy at quarterback, they have a chance to beat anyone in the NFL. We'll have to wait and see what they do this upcoming season for sure. Let me know how you guys feel about Stafford, how much game he's still got left in the tank. Moving on from that, actually, before we hit trivia of the day, I almost went to trivia of the day, but I did want to give a shout here. I'm trying to find it here. There we go. So I want to give a shout here today, right now, as I'm recording this. Actually, the ESPYs I think are still going on. ESPN's sports, award every year. They give the awards to different athletes, different teams, and things like that. And I'm not sure if too many Rams players have been acknowledged. If I missed it, I apologize. At the point of me making these screenshots and everything, no Rams have really been shouted out too much, but Los Angeles was shouted out, so I did want to highlight this real quick. As ESPN's tweet says, no one fights fire on their own, just like no one plays a sport on their own. There's always a team. There's a team all around you that enables you to perform. The Pat Tilman Award presented to the greater LA firefighters. I believe 2 firefighters in particular were the ones that picked up the award and the trophy, which was cool to see, as it was, I believe, David Walters and Aaron Regan. Shout out to both of them as they received the Pat Tilman Award. I believe both of them were former athletes as well. So just want to give a shout real quick. I think it's July, it's been a few months since January and the fires occurred. And I think sometimes, personally, I think I'll say it myself, you forget, right, to kind of go back and acknowledge how much had happened earlier this year, the importance of the firefighters, the first responders who did such great work during that time. It's pretty cool to see the ESPYs highlight that and kind of give a little bit of a reminder of, like, man, it was a lot of dedication from their end on their doing their part, and then obviously the great work they did to help the community, and then just the devastation that the community in the greater Los Angeles area did have to suffer through during that time. It was a pretty crazy time in LA. If you guys are in LA, you kind of remember. So just want to give a shout to that, kind of remember that moment, and obviously shout out to the fact that LA firefighters are receiving the Pat Tilman Award at the ESPYs. And last but not least, my favorite part of the episode, Trivia of the Day, where I ask a trivia question. You give your trivia guesses down below in the comment section. Whether you're right or whether you're wrong, I'll give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. Last episode's Trivia of the Day was this question we posed here. What running back has the most career fumbles in NFL history? It's interesting, right? Because a lot of good players end up fumbling the football a lot. So the multiple choice options were, was it A, Walter Payton? Was it B, Tony Dorsett? Was it C, Eric Dickerson? Or was it D, Ollie Matson? Again, what running back has the most career fumbles in NFL history? Was it A, Walter Payton? Was it B, Tony Dorsett? Was it C, Eric Dickerson? Or was it D, Ollie Matson? A few of you guys play along at home with your trivia guesses. Here were some of your guesses right here in the comment section. We had the Real J. Will saying, I would say Dickerson because he ran so upright. Is it 6 in a row? Question mark. No confidence on this one. The Real J. Will has been on a little bit of a heater lately, but we'll see if you got this one correct. Glider says, because I've never heard of him, I'm going Ollie Matson. We had 55 Dougie saying Strahan. Oh, he was talking about the last episode trivia of the day. This one as well, talking about last episode trivia of the day. Andrew says the sack record in actuality, probably Deacon Jones. Back when he played, sacks were just counted as tackles. Shout out to you for giving that knowledge there. Strahan and Deacon Jones get a little bit of a highlight here. Sorry, I snuck them in here with today's trivia of the day. Floyd says, I'll guess Walter Payton, since it seems he played about 20 years. Juan says, what up, Josh? Appreciate you shouting out my boy Max. Yep, shout out to Max, Juan, your dog. Appreciate you shouting that out. As far as second round picks, I think they messed up. Shout out to you for responding to some of the other stuff we were talking about in the episode. And then you said they got to pay him on now. In the trivia, I'm going with Ollie Matson. Another person saying Ollie Matson. And then with Thomas saying Ollie Matson as well. A lot of you guys guessing Ollie Matson, which is funny because I actually included him last because I just was trying to throw a different name in there off of I went to the list of most career fumbles by StatMuse. I went to the list, checked all the names out. Technically speaking, it is a tie with most fumbles, but one of the options wasn't on here. I don't want to confuse anybody. So was it A, Walter Payton? Was it B, Tony Dorsett? Was it C, Eric Dickerson? Or D, Ollie Matson? The correct answer, I don't think anybody got correct, was B, maybe C, Tony Dorsett. He had 90 career fumbles, the most career fumbles by any NFL running back. He also tied that record with Franco Harris. So both of them have that record. They do hold it as the most career fumbles. Walter Payton, by the way, for those of you who guessed Walter Payton, he had 86, so just 4 short. Eric Dickerson had 78. And then Ollie Matten actually had 66 career fumbles. So appreciate you all of you guys for guessing with the trivia of the day. I don't think anyone got it correct on this one. So shout out to all of you guys for playing, though. Whether you're right or whether you're wrong, we give you a shout out. So I appreciate you guys. If you want a shout out just like these folks did on the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest, go ahead and play along with today's trivia of the day, which is this question here. Who has the most career forced fumbles? So the other end of the fumble train here. Who has the most career forced fumbles in NFL history since the stat was tracked? That is your trivia of the day today for trivia of the day number 91. We had, is it A, Ray Lewis, B, Julius Peppers, C, Robert Mathis, or D, Charles Woodson? Who has the most career forced fumbles in NFL history since the stat was tracked? Is it A, Ray Lewis, B, Julius Peppers, C, Robert Mathis, or D, Charles Woodson? Give your guesses down below in the comment section, and whether you're right or whether you're wrong, we give a shout out on the next episode. Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in to today's episode of the Rams Digest. If you guys are not subscribed to the channel, please do me the favor, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any daily Rams content. Other than that, that's going to do it for me on today's episode. I'm your host, Joshua Giron, and I'm out.